Take two.
Yeah.
No, is that how it goes?
This is what I would consider classic rock.
This is
Right?
classic rock?
Yes.
So this is something that they're going to play like when they have that cruise night here in McCook, right?
Yes, that should be a request for sure.
Yeah. Our guest actually told us about
This song.
and who sings it. It's
Yes.
the Doobie Brothers, if anybody wants to bring that back, like you do your flares and high-waisted pants and crop tops.
Yeah. Here you go.
It's really not fitting with that outfit without some Doobie Brothers.
Exactly. Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man, we're back.
We are back.
We're in the studio.
I love to see your face.
Well, I'm glad somebody does because I don't hear that very often.
No?
No. You
It's
know,
not
my
very
new
nice.
gig, you know, I have a summer gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm at a location
Yes.
slinging donuts. Okay. People are so excited to go to that place until they see me behind the counter, and it's just heartache. It's just, I don't get a lot of love there.
I get texts and they're like, oh my God, I posted you that
Yes.
you were there.
Yeah.
And then all the messages I got that were like, wait, is Lena just like volunteering? Does she have community service hours?
Well, it's probably a combination of all the above.
Jake's kicking you out of the house. You got to pay for your own rent. Yeah.
You
So
know.
everybody take a stop in, come
Yeah.
see Lena. She works Tuesdays, Wednesdays,
and Thursdays.
and Thursdays.
Unless we're recording.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And she is so bright. And
I am a bowl of sunshine.
And get in there when Donna's also working, because
Oh
Donna yells at
my,
Lena, and
she
it is the
does.
funniest thing.
We
Speaking
are
of
one
that,
of the same.
we need Donna on here.
We do.
Make it happen.
She's going to be my I'm thankful for.
You play this podcast when you're working on Tuesday, so it's in the background.
Should do it. Yes.
Figure out where
Okay.
the music is, plug it in.
Deal. On it.
Donna, we'll see you at the next recording day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back to another episode of Coaching, Caffeine, and Comedy. I'm your host, Hayley Copza.
And I'm Lena.
And we have a really fun guest in studio with us today. Clearly, if you know the music, it came from the 80s. This guy is young.
Whoa, I think he said earlier than that, didn't he? Possibly. Maybe
What?
the late 70s.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's getting a little closer.
Wow.
I know.
He doesn't look that old.
He doesn't. He wears it so well.
And he got up these stairs like
I
a
know.
young, fresh
I
football
know.
player.
I think he skipped up.
He high kneed up here. Yeah. I, on the other
Yes.
hand, used the railing.
Yeah.
And he was just, he was
Yeah.
skipping stairs.
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. I was really looking for the chair to get me up here is what I was doing.
Oh, when
Yeah,
when-
yeah, we don't have that
Yeah,
yet.
so in studio with us, we have Bob Elder. Bob is from McCook. Are you a native McCook?
I was born in California, and I'm, yeah.
What?
But you, Billy, get this one. I was born in Hollywood, California. Yeah.
There.
I want to go there one day.
So-
Lena, take me.
I tell people, I said I had a full blood transfusion from John Wayne, and I'm just kidding, but
Well,
That is so crazy.
and
Yeah.
I moved to Kansas when I was 2 months old. I
What
moved
did your
out.
parents do?
My dad was in the Navy.
Really?
Yes, he was in the
Oh.
Navy, and then my parents were from Kansas, so we moved from California back to Kansas when I was a baby, and I grew up kind of in Arapahoe. Went to Kansas for 2 years, moved to Arapahoe for about, I don't know, 8, 9. I moved up here in 1970, and in McCook. So I've been a long time. I've been here a long time.
So when you said 2 years in Kansas, like you lived there, you weren't in school yet.
No.
Okay.
St. John's.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
But then you went all school. Like, did you?
Went to junior grade school in Arapahoe. And
Okay.
at the end of my 8th grade year, I moved up here. My dad got a job at the old Gibson's Discount Center, where it's over there. It's over by Taste of Texas, right across the street.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back then.
Kind of like
And-
an Alcoa type.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those, I was like, what is in your hair? It's the piece of plastic from your headphones. It's fine. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So Bob, if for those of you that don't know Bob Elder, because not everybody that listens to this podcast is from McCook, Bob Elder is the owner and manager
At the sports shop.
at the sports shop here in McCook. So the sports shop is like your local sports
Money
shop.
pit for most athletic parents.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, or MCC
Yes.
college athletics. I'm quite sure that's where all of our funds go.
Yes.
For everything. But Bob, so you've listened.
Yes, I have.
We do a warm up.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to get a timer going.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This
So
will be good.
I just came up with this.
Just difficult?
Because today, this episode, Bob's going to come back for part 2, but
That's right.
Today it's all about history of McCook. And because you know so much, and we're going to talk about one.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Is this going to be one of those things we have to go back and like fact check, and people are going to message us and be like, "I'm not sure if Bob was right," kind of thing?
We should know if he's right. It should be easy if we have to fact check it.
Okay. We'll see.
So Bob,
Okay.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds on the clock.
Ooh,
You
Wow.
need to come up with 15
15.
street names that aren't a one letter or number word that aren't here in McCook. And go.
Ravenswood Road.
1.
Oh, my gosh.
That's not a road.
That's horrible. All I know is ABC. Oh, my gosh.
We're still at 1.
I'm still at 1. This is pressure. I don't know if I know very many of those.
Norris.
Norris.
Norris Park. Okay, Norris Avenue.
2.
All right. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Is that the time?
Is this history?
That was the time.
Speaking of history, I think
this
this has
history?
been one of our.
Whoa, Bob, you knocked it out of the park. I was
Thank
like,
you.
Norris? That would have been the first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cherokee.
Where do you
Get up-
live?
I live on West M Street.
Oh, that's
M.
yeah. That's why we are drawing a blank there.
M.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
doggone. Now I think about it, I
goodness.
live right off Westridge.
In
Sheesh,
like
that's
Elizabeth and all those like up there.
terrible. Okay, did I tell you that I had to ride the chair to get up here?
Yeah.
I'm just forgetful.
Can't remember any of the street names. Well, that went really well.
Yeah.
Do we give him a plan B or he's ready to go?
Yeah,
This
he's
is
ready
tough.
to go.
All
Yikes.
right.
I mean, you can't
Yikes.
embarrass him twice and have him
Yeah.
still sit here and.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start off with this piece of history about McCook because this is why I'm like, we're bringing you in.
Okay.
So tell me about the old Elks building, right?
Yep.
Tell me about it. What used to be hosted there?
Oh my gosh.
And you were huge, this was back in your
So
golden days.
we used to have a banquet there for our little CABA baseball tournament we had clear back in 1983 through or 82 through 93, and we always had it on the patio because there was so many teams there that we spread them out on the grass per team, and we had people come in from some of our speakers were like Mike Anderson, who was the head baseball coach at University of Nebraska, and we had banquets out there all the time. And he was about here probably every year we did it. He came out a lot and spoke to the kids about, everything, as a coach would do. Mm-hmm. And it was quite a deal.
And so what happened behind the Elks Club? Because wasn't there fields there?
We built, so you want to go back in history?
Yeah, I wanna go back in history.
Let's talk CABA. Okay.
Wait,
So,
did you say Caba?
CABA, C-A-B-A stood for Continental Amateur Baseball Association. And
And Bob was the president.
What?
I was, so let's do it this way. I was a tournament director, and it all started with one day that Chuck and Janet Gray, Chuck Gray took a team down to Missouri. These guys, this Continental Amateurs, CABA, was pretty new, and they played in Missouri. So they went as Nebraska representative to Missouri to play it in the tournament. And when they were down there, the guys that were running the tournament or were National Association actually saw these guys, and they were looking up on their map, and they said, McCook, Nebraska. Their idea was small town USA puts more attention into these tournaments than anybody else does. So they approached Chuck about McCook sponsoring a 13-year-old division because they lost their 13-year-old division from the year before, and he brought it back to McCook, and I was at the time the president of the Optimist Club, and we had the city had a meeting with Chuck, so they had representatives from Little League Baseball, Optimist Club, Chamber of Commerce, college was there. I can't remember who all were there, but there was a lot of people represented, And I sat in a meeting, and I was kind of in the back because that's what I did when you're 24 years old.
Oh my God.
I was going to ask
He
how
was
old he was.
24 and
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
24,
Okay.
25, right in there. And I sat in the back, and I listened to what was going on. And it was kind of a funny story because I'm a different believer than a lot of people. And everybody that they had talked to was going, boy, this is way too much. This is going to be hard to pull off, because they had a contract that you did a lot. I mean, you had to do a lot to bring them into town. So I stuck around after the meeting was over, and nobody would step up, right? So I'm helping them pick up chairs and everything. And when I'm sitting in the back room, my wheels are just turning, and I'm going, oh man, you can't lose this. You can't give this up. So Chuck said, Bob, what do you think? That was a wrong question to ask me, because I just started rattling. I'm going, you can't give this up. I said, there's no way. I said, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for McCook. So I went back to the Optimist Club and sold it to them. It was a tough sale, but I sold it to them, and we put it on the first 2 years, but it was such a financially burdened project that we gave it up and gave it to the chamber, and then this whole city of McCook took off with it, and I was still the director of it. I just stuck with it. And it was quite a deal, because we had teams from Brazil, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, New York, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida. I mean, off and on. And there were different teams, how they represented or how they qualified. I know it. This is
in the field,
my
and
mind is
this took
blown right
place.
now.
This didn't take place at like Felling Field, right? Or
what we did
yeah.
that year that we took on the contract. It was already planned to have 2 softball fields down behind the Elks Club. So we're just in the, Ken Allen was a big stage in this, because Ken was already involved in the softball field building. So it kind of broke ground. We signed the contract. Then it got to be, let's work fast, because it was that fall. And so we were there every night for, I can't tell you, 6 months, putting up backstops and putting up a little building and a score booth. And
Oh my gosh.
Behind the Elks Club.
I can't even, like, my brain is spinning right now. Like, where did these people stay?
that's a good question. This is a
I mean,
great
I need
story.
a, yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. And like, it took so much.
Yes.
Like, from,
Yeah, it
keep
was
going.
good.
Keep going.
If teams wanted to have housing, we were obligated, as part of our contract, we had to find them housing. So we had so many people behind the scenes that were, one person was in charge of housing if they wanted housing, and they'd find houses to host families. And if they didn't want to, they stayed in motels, wherever, right? So the funny part of this story is that we had teams coming in we had a team one year from Cincinnati, Ohio, okay? And I'm not prejudiced by any means, but they were all African-American coaches, players, and they drove one of those back then, one of those roll around back end buses, and they they come pulling into town, and they didn't know what they were getting into. You come from Cincinnati, Ohio to McCook, Nebraska. I mean, we're talking 8,000, 9,000 people and out in the wilderness. They didn't know what they were getting into. So they pulled into the parking lot at the cheap motel at that time, and they come walking out, and there's people there to greet them. And of course they come out and they go, and we were all white, and they were going, wow. They were the biggest hit of the whole tournament. Once we got to know them, it was just awesome, because the kids and them got together and they dancing in the parking lots. They had a great time.
Oh my gosh.
It was awesome. It was
which is so cool. Like just the
I just
on
got
both
chills.
sides.
Yes.
Like,
The experience.
the experience and
for
meeting
everybody.
people
Yes.
and welcoming everybody into our community. That's
It was
awesome.
crazy. We lasted for 12 years or 13 years, and it was crazy. I mean, we had fun.
Why did it end? What?
Outgrew us.
Okay.
It outgrew us.
Wow.
Their goal was, hold on a second, I'm going to shut off my phone.
Oh, okay.
So they were wanting to get to 64 teams eventually. We had 16. Okay.
Oh.
They wanted to get to 64, and they had a great plan. Believe me, they had a great plan, but it was all volunteerism. It took us probably 9 months out of the year we worked on this thing, and we had a crew of probably 8 to 10 people that did different stuff. We had to have somebody in charge of the parade. We had somebody in charge of the banquet and speakers and all that. We had to have somebody in charge.
So where
of
was the
housing.
banquet held? It was held at the Elks Club?
We did it behind the
Awesome.
Elks Club on the patio.
Yeah, the big square patio.
Yeah, big patio, and we had people down, and some of the teams were down on the grass, and they were sitting down there and listening to
So what were
Mike?
the years that this went on in McCook?
82 through 93.
Oh, did he say that? I think he might have said that.
Yeah.
82, something like that.
I
82 through 93.
wasn't
Because
even
I can
thought
kind
of
of
at
remember.
that time.
No, you weren't. So those are some good years.
But it was a lot of fun.
Did it continue after it left McCook?
Yes, it went to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which
Okay.
is
yeah.
a suburb
Yep.
of Tulsa. Or
Yep.
Tulsa?
Yeah, Tulsa.
Okay. So they had a major airport. That's another thing we had to do. We had to go.
They had to bus people.
We had to
my
go.
gosh.
If they wanted rides, obviously the Brazilians did, and Hawaiians did, and those long travelers.
Yeah.
And they'd fly into Denver, Omaha, and we had to go pick them up if they wanted rides.
So the coolest thing when he was telling me about this with one, like the community involvement, that took like all volunteers.
Right.
And like, that's one of the biggest things, today. I feel like it's hard to
Yep.
get people that want to help. And like, it's kind of sad, but I also do think there are people out there that would help out. Like
Right.
if there was a big event like that, but
Yeah.
probably not as much as there were back then.
Well, I
We
don't.
had a group of probably 8 to 10. I'd say 8 to 10 people that were the backbone of the whole thing from year to year. Now,
Who were they? As your
oh my gosh, Terry Hollowell was really involved. Terry used to have Redmond shoes down here
right.
years
Yep,
ago.
Yep.
Terry was real big. Dale Lortz. Remember, Dale was a coach here for years and then moved back east to the part of the state. He was actually my baseball coach in Legion. Let's see. Carol Vlasheen was our head scorekeeper, so she did all the paperwork. She loved baseball. Her husband who had passed away at the time. I believe he passed away. Anyway, he was a major league baseball player, so she loved baseball. So she did all the scorekeeping.
Okay.
We had there was probably 3 of us. Dale was one of them. We had MVP. We had to go watch games and figure out MVPs and things like that. Obviously, the Chamber of Commerce was involved. The city had a representative. I don't remember who it was because it changed over the time. But our mainstays were those people right there.
Wow. That's
so
incredible.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Wait, I love this story. The Brazilians used to come in, and obviously it's volunteerism, but there was a little kickback at the sports shop, just a little. But the Brazilians would come in, and they would show up. They'd get here on Thursday. We'd pick them up. They'd bring them into town. They would come down to the store, and at that time we were on B Street, right, where half of Farrell's were, right, years ago.
Oh, I don't
They used to be
remember.
split
Okay.
in half.
Okay.
Okay. They came in and they would order a pitching machine on Thursday, right? And it would show up on Monday. So this tournament went from like Friday was our banquet, Saturdays was our first game, and they'd be done the following Saturday. So
The whole week. Wow.
the whole week. So
Yeah.
they would show up, they'd get the pitch machine on Monday or Tuesday, they dismantle it piece by piece, put it in their equipment bags because they come half full, take it back home to Brazil, and they wouldn't have to pay tariff on it because tariffs were horrible in Brazil. And they'd save them a lot of money, but that's what they would do. It was just
my
crazy.
Goodness.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it was fun.
So going back, rewind, you grew up within the area.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to, were you automatically working at the sports shop as
No.
a helper? Or how did you even get into the sports shop?
Okay, after MCC,
Yeah.
I was involved in a beer distributorship.
Oh.
So I was still pretty young, and
Wait, you went to college at MCC?
and then, so I got involved in a beer distributorship, and about
Wait, was this legal? Is it like you? I know.
This was
is it
legal. This was legal. I was about
Okay, I didn't know if it was
I was-
moonshine or the way that you did some air quotes. I was
no.
nervous. Okay.
So I think I was 21 or 22 at the time. Something
Okay,
like
you
that.
were of age. Good.
Yeah. So I was working there for 2 years, and it really wasn't fitting my life, so to speak. I was going the wrong direction in my own mind, and I just said, I'm going to make a change. And at the time, I had a guy that I knew pretty well that was our manager of our Legion baseball team in the summertime that knew me, and they were looking for somebody to step in and get involved in the store. And I went, you know what? They approached me and asked me. I went, this is my thing. This is something I can do. And so I stepped out, went in to do this, and I've been doing it for 43 years.
Holy crazy. So speaking of history, your building, what did it used to be?
Paid hardware store. It's set when we were over at another place. The gentleman had owned the building for I don't know how many years, and he worked until he was like 92 or 93, and I felt bad for him because you could see him walk by our store, walk on the other side of the street, and we could see him walk, and it took him. He couldn't go in his back door because it had 2 steps. He couldn't get up steps.
Oh,
and I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
I really felt bad for him. But he would walk around the front, and there was no steps in there. He'd get in the front of the store. So he finally retired, but I don't know what year it was, probably 84, I would guess, 83, 84. And the building sat empty for quite a while. And the kids, the family got power of attorney, and they knew that they needed to get out of it. So we bought the building and redid it and moved in 1988, and we're there ever since.
So within the history of your old building,
Yep.
I never knew this. There are tunnels.
There's tunnels. Yeah.
I knew
Did
that.
you know that?
I did. I knew that.
Yeah, you can see where the actual bricks have been filled in.
Yeah.
Where
What
the
were those,
tunnels-
like, what were they used for?
I think they were used for World War, to get
I don't know what.
not prisoners. They would be probably soldiers down to the railroad station to get them shipped off to wherever.
Because we used to have
I had an airport I don't know what it was. It was an air base out northwest of McCook, and they were probably part of that. And then they had to get down. If they didn't fly out, they would get on a train and get to Denver and then go someplace. I don't know. They'd fly out from there.
That's crazy. Well, you knew that. Thanks for not
I
telling
knew the
me.
tunnels. I didn't know the rest of it. I didn't know why there were.
So, like, where have you seen anywhere else where the tunnels are still not filled in?
No, I have not been. Matter of fact, I don't think I've been in any basements.
Keystone?
I've never been in their basement.
Okay, I've seen. That's where
Oh,
I
I've
found
been
out.
in the McCook National Bank, but they've redone their stuff down there.
Yeah.
That's about the only spot.
So what sports did you play in high school? I'm going to get past the tunnels here, but what did you participate?
Okay,
What were you
football,
involved
basketball. Didn't do track. I played golf one year, but then but my baseball coach, I got involved in baseball a lot. So I practiced in the spring and played. We played 60 some games in the summertime.
Okay.
And played a lot of baseball.
How old were you when you didn't you have a knee injury? Were you
gosh.
I know, I just remember.
When I moved to McCook in 1970, I was a pretty good-sized kid, and played football. When I was younger, we didn't have, we weren't blessed with a lot of money or anything like that, but we moved up to McCook, and my parents, it's kind of a funny deal. My parents bought the same color jeans, and I had like 7 pair of them. Green.
Oh.
Green.
Okay.
And
Do you
I
have
wore
photos of this?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Do you?
No,
You're
sorry.
lying.
Someone does.
Somebody does. I'm contacting a family member.
No. But when we moved up here, I started playing, baseball. And at that age, you know how tough it is to move when you're a teenager at that, 13, 14 years old.
Gosh.
Yeah. And so kids made fun of me, but I wasn't
Especially with those green pants.
with those green pants.
Yep.
So I didn't really, let it bother me because I just went out and competed. And then the fall, being a good-sized kid, when football rolled around, that's when I paid them back.
Yeah.
There you
That's what I'm
go.
talking about.
That's
Good job, Bob.
right.
And so you went to MCC. Did you play a sport?
I
or-
tried basketball, but
Yeah. Too hot in that gym, probably.
my thing was Glenn Haney was my coach. I don't know if you remember. Rick Haney in Casa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Dad. Okay.
Okay.
So my abilities were like this. So I could, what do they call it? The credit card jump? if you jumped high enough to swipe a
that
credit
was
card,
you?
that was me.
Good
That was me.
job, Bob.
I know somebody else
So,
like that in the room.
We had some, we had some kids. We had some kids that came from down south, New Orleans, all over the place. Milwaukee, there was kids from Milwaukee that played, and
Bob.
Our preseason, and Bob, in our preseason, I think we were playing at the high school. We were doing a little scrimmage for the public, and this guy from New Orleans, I took a shot from like 20 feet out. It ended up in about the 12th row, and I went, is that a sign that I shouldn't be playing?
Yeah, probably need to.
It was passed me up, so I played for that year, and that was it. I didn't really play much, so. Mm-hmm.
So then after that, you graduated from college, you started beer.
The beer,
and
then into sports.
And then when did you start doing that other thing?
Would have been in, 83. So I would have been probably 20. I
still wasn't born. Okay.
7, maybe 28, 27, right in there when I took on that role, I guess.
The reffing?
Oh, reffing? Oh,
Yeah.
the reffing.
Oh, the
Reffing.
Yes.
The
I didn't know where
reffing.
you were
I was-
going either.
I thought maybe
Yeah,
you're
when did you
talking
start
about
reffing?
cabinet.
I thought that's what you were going with.
That would
Yeah.
have been probably 26 years old, 25 years old.
And what did you ref? But we're going to get into that
Football.
next time. Just
Yeah,
football?
Football, basketball.
And
I did baseball too, softball.
so
I did stuff like that.
you had good knees then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Better knees. Not
Better
good
knees,
just
yeah.
better knees. So I enjoyed it. It was fun.
That's awesome. We'll get
Yeah.
into that one
Okay.
day.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will.
Guess
Gotcha.
not today.
Not
Today's
today.
History Day.
Today's History Day.
Yes.
Yeah, I love history.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, like you said, we go back to volunteerism. That was a whole different, volunteerism is a whole different cat anymore. It really is.
Like, how would you describe it? How essential it is for communities our size, for young people who could be listening? Because I feel like those of us who do it know.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that a lot of these events and things wouldn't go on with a lot of great volunteers. But for those who aren't participating in sharing their talents, let them know like what it takes and what it means for a lot of these events.
You cannot. The big thing is you have to surround yourself with good people. Mm-hmm. And I was one of those believers that when I said yes to this CABA tournament, I looked around and went, okay, so what is my entities? I mean, what are the people around me that would help? And I went to them individually and I said, hey, would you be involved in this? Now the chamber was easy because they could see the benefits, but the individuals, I picked up people who love baseball, and I went, what do you think of this thing? I said, would you be involved? Yes. And then we had, and then I found some ladies that would take care of the princesses, and I found a couple ladies.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. We had people from around, girls that were here, 13 years old.
Yeah, I remember that now.
We had a princess for every team. Mm-hmm. So,
That's
and
pretty
we
cool.
had a local team. Being the host, we could do a local team. J.O. played in the tournament, and you probably knew that. I don't know.
No, I didn't. I didn't even
I think
remember
you told
any
me
of this
that.
till you started
You told me
talking
that,
about
yeah.
it.
Justin Coleman back in the days played there. I think Drew Wilson played in the tournament as a host team, and
Sure.
it was an eye opener.
Going back though, like think about it. So you were 23?
24, right?
24
On Optimus,
on Optimist Club.
running this Kappa.
Yeah.
Is that how it's pronounced? Kappa?
What if I have been in a few of these organizations, there is nobody of that age.
No, that's what
And-
I'm saying.
Yeah, and like that is so true. Like those are the people that need to be volunteering. Like you don't have any of the commitments yet. Like you might be married, but like maybe you don't have children. Like this is
You're
the
not going
time to
activities,
grow.
yeah, and meet people.
Yeah, and there
extend
are
yourself.
those
I agree.
people in this
Yeah.
community. So it's like,
So we did Optimist Kappa. He's done the college boosters.
Oh yeah.
You're very involved in your church.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay. So
And you umped and reft, which somewhat like volunteering. anyway.
let's go back to CABA for a
Okay.
second.
Yeah,
Just
do.
If you don't
Do.
mind, let's go
No,
back.
let's go. I'm listening.
I
I'm
got to
listening.
tell you this stories because people don't understand how
They
big
don't.
this deal was.
They don't.
I know. And you
Yeah,
were telling
yes.
me this, and I think it was because I was like talking about the softball and baseball fields. And of course, just get on Facebook and all the keyboard Karens can tell you what's happening with that. But I was like, Bob, like what about, because I had heard something about fields being at the Elks Club. And
Yeah.
I think that's why we got in this conversation.
Yes.
He's like, let me tell you a story.
Now that he's saying it, it's weird that it's all coming back to me. I remember it now.
That's so, I'm like,
Yeah, so
there
keep
were
going.
fields
So keep
there.
Have you
Yeah.
ever watched Moneyball?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
with Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Okay, so one of the there you go.
AKA my Jake. Anyways, keep going.
So
Yep.
the last
Your
MVP
Jake.
that was here, 93, was Eric Chavez, who played third base for the Oakland A's during that movie. And he appears in the little films, they're showing him celebrating, his little name's on the back of his shirt on that. And he got traded to the New York Yankees. He played for 15, 16 years, I think. He ended up playing.
And he played here.
And he played here. He's our last MVP.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is
That
really
is
cool.
so cool.
Bruce Sutter. And if anybody, they don't know these names,
Yeah.
but somebody Google Bruce Sutter and look that name up. He was the save holder or record holder in the Major League Baseball for years. He was a coach he coached the Knoxville Smokies in, 91, something like that. He held the record for a lot of years until I think Raleigh Fingers broke it from the Oakland A's back in the old days. Yeah, there's names like that. Mike Epstein played for the Oakland Athletics in their heyday in the 70s when they won like 3 out of 4 World Series. He was their first baseman. He coached. He wasn't a very nice guy, but he coached one of the teams. And there's just names like that.
What did it do? I mean, I don't know if you know the economic impact for McCook.
Huge. It was huge. It was huge. People talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
That I don't know how, they say, what is it, turns over 3.5 times or whatever money does that. It's still not about money. It was about bringing something out
Into
of
our
the
community.
ordinary to your town and just thriving on it. And we loved it. We got humbly, I will say, the town won awards for almost every year that we had a tournament for host awards and things. They had different awards they give out.
And I do feel like our
huge.
community still does a great job at like any events. Like I think of like some of the, like I'm not even comparing, but like I do some events for the volleyball where we do bring in out of state people and everybody loves it here. Like they even like, cause they don't have to eat at McDonald's and nothing against McDonald's. They can eat, they can eat other places and we have all these other great options and our community does. They are phenomenal hosts for outside events.
Agreed.
And like, how cool would it be to like bring that back? Like if you were to have something that you're getting people, like how cool.
So let's talk about another event.
Yeah.
Since you asked me, we used to do a circus.
You told me that you want to talk about this.
Okay, I got to talk about circus. This is great. During my era as president, I had a guy go to the chamber office and ask them about bringing a circus to town and their route, and the circus. When he talked to them about it, he said, "Okay, go see Bob Elder. He's the president of the Optimist Club. Go talk to him." And so this guy came and talked to me, and he gave me this sales pitch, and he's telling me all that they were going to do in 24 hours, and I'm going, "No way." There's no way. And he kept talking to me, and I'm going, I finally got convinced. I said, all right, let me go back to the club, and we'll talk about this. So I took it back to the club. We talked about it. It was basically a fundraiser. And the way he made it sound, we did minimal work, right? And I said...
You just had to feed the tigers and the elephants? Easy.
Yeah. But anyway, we met out at McCook Public Power's meeting room. And the the year before's president, he was in charge of McCook Public Power. So we talked, and the guy gave us a sales pitch, and all I heard was, "There's no way. You're not going to be able to pull this off. There's no way." And I said, "Let's give it a shot. Let's just try it and give it a shot. I'll be in charge. Don't worry about it. I'll be in charge." So they were designed. It was like clockwork. So the morning of we had it down at where Valmont is. It used to be all softball field or practice fields.
What?
That was never there. Okay,
the amount of softball and baseball fields in this town. And now it's like we have a lack of them.
There was all backstops down there. Seriously, there was all just flat, and then there was dirt infields and with a backstop, and there was probably 10 or 12 of them.
What?
Down there. Yeah. Where Valmont
10
was.
or 12?
Practice fields, yes.
So when they got rid of them, they never put them anywhere else?
No.
What? We'll get into that.
Keep going. Yeah,
we'll get into that because you probably know.
Go.
Yeah. And now I'm just, what is happening with the sticker patches? And continue.
Anyways, go.
So we signed a contract, and the day that they showed up, I said to myself, okay, is this really going to, did we just get, we had to put money up front. I said, did we just get stolen? Did we get hacked? Did we get,
just took all
what's
of our
going
money.
on? They took our money. So I drove down there early in the morning. About 6 o'clock. I sit out there in the middle of this field. I'm standing there going, okay, so what's going to happen here? Is something going to happen? Well, the first vehicle came over, the viaduct, and it was the person that I dealt with, right? Mm-hmm. And they had a host or whatever, a boss that came in and talked to me, and they said, yeah, the trucks will be pulling in here in a little bit. And I said, okay, good, all right. And about the time they kept rolling in sequence. So like the first group came in and they started laying out the where the tent was going to go, all right?
Right.
And I'm going, okay. So I said, oh, that's pretty cool. They're out there measuring and get all the things and put stakes up and all this. And next thing I know, here comes the other trucks, and here comes more trucks, and here comes more trucks. And I'm going, wow.
This is actually happening.
They pulled into this lot, right? And they had started rolling out the tent and laid it out there. It was 5 rings. I don't know how big you know how big a 5-ring tent is? It was like 140 yards long and like 50 to 60 yards wide. And it laid out, this is the truth. It laid out there. And then they started unloading the elephants. And the elephants, this was the fun part because all these little kids, this was I enjoyed, was all these little kids, they were invited to come watch the tent being put up. That was for free.
Oh, fun.
So the elephants would get out and they would walk around and push the poles up with their head, the wooden poles. Okay?
I'm just like,
and
I have chills. Like, you can tell this is a core memory for Bob.
Yes.
This is great. I love it.
This is hilarious. I just went, wow. So it was just like clockwork. So they put up the tent, and we had 2 shows, one in the middle at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and then we had 7:30 at night. So they had 2 shows. It filled up. It was just amazing. They ended up, this is the fun part, they ended up with 56 vehicles, 28 elephants.
It was a
28 elephants. They had like 32 of the show horses.
Yeah.
They had 21 lions. I mean, we're talking tigers and lions. It was unbelievable. Plus, they had a zoo, a walk-through zoo. So they had a rhino. They had giraffe rides. They had elephant rides. For kids could go up and sit on it, and they walk them around the little ring, and they would get. And it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And so to prepare for it, we had dumpsters. We had to have dumpsters. We had to find somebody to sell them hay. Mm-hmm. They bought all this stuff except the water. We provided water for them. We had our water trucks, all this stuff, and so we did all that prep work, and then we settled up, for what money we made and everything, mm-hmm. And. At the end of the night, they told us in the contract, the guy selling it to us says, if it wasn't for the dumpsters being full, you'll never know we were there the next morning. And so I got up at 6:30 and I drove down there. You could not tell they were even here, except the dumpsters were full. They did all that work themselves. I mean, they had front-end loaders they brought themselves. I mean, that's how big they were. And they just dump it in. And they'd fill up. And they'd fill up all this stuff, and it was completely full. If you didn't see the tracks in the middle of the infields,
right,
you would know they were here. You wouldn't even know it.
You know the thing so this was in the 80s, 90s?
First time we did it was 83 when I was president. So
before social media. You couldn't even host an event like that anymore because so much hate and all these things. Like that.
Yeah.
Go back then and ask those people. They probably remember it like it was not a horrific event or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, to each their own, but like how amazing that is so cool. That is so cool.
It was so cool. It was so much fun. It was like when we got done at the night, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And for us as a club, it was pretty good. We made like $10,000 for that day or something like that.
Did you ever go to a circus when you were younger? I remember going to one in North Platte, and it was like there's like a military base like north of town, and it was the coolest thing of my life. And then like when all the circus hate and everything, I'm like, why would kids even, I'm confused by, but you don't have social media, social media is ruined some phenomenal things. I feel like.
Did you do it more than once, or was it?
We did it. This was the good thing about these guys. They didn't like to burn anything out. And it's not a knock to the Shriners by any means, but the Shriners used to come in every year. You know, they were a 5-year. Every 5 years they'd come and get a new batch of kids, and they'd come and have a new crowd basically.
Sure.
You know, so we did it every 5 years. We did 83, 88.
And what
90.
was the group? What was it?
Carson and Barnes 5-Ring Circus is what it was called.
Carson and Barnes.
Yes, it was pretty
I'm writing
cool.
this down.
So
I like to
yeah,
research
83,
circuses.
88.
83, 88, 93, something like that. But they proceeded to get smaller because
Sure.
all the,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
animal
Still.
rights people get
Yes,
involved, and
yes.
then everything started happening, and
Yeah.
it got to be so expensive, and insurance went out the roof and all
sure.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So it started dwindling
Yeah.
fast, and we did it about 4 times. Went from 5 to 3 to 1, and then it was like, then it didn't have any animals anymore,
Yeah. Wow.
basically. So we did it up to a certain point, and then we just kind of,
Yeah.
you know, it's not the same as it was.
Right.
You get
Yeah.
used to that.
Well, before
Great. Hey, you want to know the best part of the story?
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
All right. This is a good one because the owners, I dealt with the same people. It's family owned, so I dealt with the same people every year I was involved, right? The owner of this circus started in McCook. So he was in his younger days, he was in northern Kansas. He came to McCook to watch this circus, right? And I don't know, I don't think it was horse and buggy. I think there was a little Model T car or whatever. And he came up to watch him, loved it, fell in love with it, started traveling with him, bought the circus, okay? So he started in McCook, owned the circus, traveled all over the world, came back. He was still involved the last time we had it up by on the fairgrounds, on the where the go-kart track is. Okay, so that area right up in there, they used that part for the last time the big circus was here. He passed away in McCook also. So started and finished in McCook. That's the best part of the story. He was 90. He was 90.
What?
Yeah, he was like 91 years old.
Who was
traveled-
this person?
I don't remember his name.
Oh, come on, Bob.
I don't remember his name. It was a long time. I didn't ever deal with him.
Right.
I dealt with their promoters,
sure.
you know,
Right,
and their
right.
managers.
Yeah.
I never dealt with him. So when they told me the story, when we had to stop the show, bring in an ambulance to take him out.
It happened during.
Yes, he was watching, brought an ambulance in, stopped the show, took him out, took him to the hospital, and he passed away. Figure that one out. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
And
That is
the family's the one that told me that.
that's
how
so
it finished.
crazy.
Yeah.
That just kind of also makes me want to cry too.
I know. Yeah.
But talk about a full life.
No kidding.
Yeah, that is
Going
full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah. Okay, before I ask this question, I want to, is there another big event you want to talk about? Big thing that you helped put
Don't
on.
choke on your water.
I won't talk. I don't know. I did Mac Attack for a while, quite a while.
Okay.
Like 26 years.
Jeez.
And so, but the other thing I loved, this was another one that I listened to some events that we did when I was a high school booster president. We were out making flyers. We were out folding flyers one day at Kelvin Miller's house, matter of fact. And we were putting them in envelopes. We're going to mail them out. And I had this idea, you know, and people hate it when I got ideas.
I know.
Because it
So
meant
much
work.
work.
It was work.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting out there folding all these, and there's probably 6 of us sitting around. And I said, "Hey, I got an idea for a fundraiser. Let's do a concert." And they kind of went, "Huh?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Let's do a concert. Let's bring a concert to town and let's have it." Right. And this would have been probably the first year that the event center was open.
Okay.
So they all said, "Okay, dig into that." So I did. So I looked around and I started thinking of people that I knew, and I was at that time a big Christian music, contemporary Christian music lover, and so I brought in a guy from a Christian that, oh boy, this is terrible.
Forgot his name.
I forget his name.
Okay, it's okay.
Anyway,
It's
I
all
asked
right.
for his advice because he used to work for a promoter out of Knoxville or out of Nashville, Tennessee, and so he knew some people, and I said, "Do you have any ideas?" He goes, "Let me look into it." So he came back with this group that was traveling around. He said, "These guys," there was 3 bands. He says, "These guys would be good if you can get them to come here." I said, "They'd be good." So he said, "I think they're en route." so around. I said, so we start contacting them. Next thing I know, we signed a contract. We were going to have it at the event center, right? We got this flyer in the mail. It's probably, or not flyer, this booklet that's probably, I don't know, 100 pages long. And we've never done this before. And we opened it up, started looking at it going, oh my gosh, what did we get ourselves into? What we had to provide, what we thought we had to provide for the bands, all their food and all the electricity and how much you had to get done. And we were going to have it at the event center because Jennifer was on the board at the time, right? And we looked at that, how much power it was going to take. And it's like they kind of scared them at the event center, like, we don't want to blow any circuits. We don't want to blow any electricity. So we had to, in the middle of after we signed the contract, we moved it over to the auditorium. And the group, our boosters kept thinking, what are we involved in here? You sure this is going to work? I said, I said, take a deep breath. We'll be okay, you know, because the guy from McCook Christian was helping, and he kind of said, you don't have to follow everything that's in that book. He's been involved. He said, you provide a few things. So the time that it came in, it was Family Force 5. Let's see, who was all three of the bands? Anyway, they came into town, and we got people to promote it through the high school and everything. We moved bleachers in from the big door on the north side. We moved bleachers in and put them all around the outside, the little metal bleachers around town, and we sold it out. And the fun part about it was there was all these high school kids and college kids that were in the moss pit. They were just having a ball. These guys were really, really good. Yeah. And the whole thing was full from ages 10 or 12 to 65. I mean, it was just a fun deal. And all I heard was at the end was when I got home, my kids came in and said, Dad, that was so cool. They're like juniors and seniors. So all the high school kids had a ball, and we pulled it off, and it was amazing. And it was just one of the best nights. And I heard from one of the boosters. They said, that's the proudest I've ever been involved in a booster club or any kind of a club in my life. Said that was one of the most fun nights we did.
That is
because
awesome.
It's such a success. But we had Darren Nichols was helping a lot because he just took some of the coaches. He talked to them and said, let's help move these guys and move these bleachers in and set it all up. And they did. It was a great time. That was a big one.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just stuff like that. You go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just So those things kind of stick in my mind over the years.
Understandable.
That's crazy. Well, Bob.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm one of those people that when I get involved in something, I always say, how can we make this work? Not, it can't work.
Right.
That was always me. So it was fun.
Here you are today. If you don't think that you had worked at the sports shop, what do you think your other gig would have been?
Oh boy. That's a good question. I grew up in a church. Okay. My dad was a lay person, so he wasn't necessarily a pastor the whole time. But he would volunteer in churches like that. I would have probably seen myself be involved in a church a little deeper than what I am now. I'm back. I mean, I was one of those kids that grew up in a church. You know how it is when you're teens and 20s and 30s, you kind of grow out of it. And then you also got to admit that you got to know that I grew up in the 70s. So, late 60s, the 70s, that was a wild time. So I kind of got away from the church, and then I got back involved when I started having kids, basically.
Yeah.
So when I started having kids, it was like my two daughters I went back to church with, we really started getting involved in church heavy with them around, and now I'm just back. That's why I like contemporary Christian music. So.
I like it. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Okay, Bob, we usually we thank our sponsors every episode. You listen. So I want you to help us thank our sponsors. You're going to list off one of them.
Oh, I hope he knows.
And don't mess
Jolt
up.
and Joe's?
Yes. Good job. Okay, what can you go to Jolt and Joe's for? Give a little.
Yeah.
Good job.
You got all kind of, let's see, frappes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
what are the other ones? Iced coffees.
Very good.
Good. You're not doing bad.
You can do muffins? I
Yes.
think they have
All the
muffins.
things, all
Yep.
the baked goods.
The Bison 45 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was
yeah.
really good. I love those. What
Farm
else?
fresh eggs.
Farm fresh. Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, $2 a dozen. $5 a dozen. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, you did one.
Yeah.
Lena.
Well, if you're hungry and you're needing to stop for lunch or dinner, you can go to El Porto, get the queso, and then get the carne asada or the fajitas, shrimp salad.
What about a beverage?
Well, it's summer, so I've been just on my water and an iced tea. But if you'd like a nice margarita, do the peach and strawberry.
Yeah, the mix.
The mix.
Yes.
Delicioso.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. You did yours like a commercial. I like
Well,
that.
that's what it's about.
If you feel like getting out of McCook and driving out to the suburbs of McCook, go out to Wild Ass Soap Company, where you can get all your needs met. Eggs, soap, deodorant, CBD,
Wow.
all the things.
All the
Jewelry.
things. Yes. Make a
And
trip.
you get to see Kaylin and Justin or some of their cute children. So
Yes.
it's a win-win either way.
Make it happen.
Yep, Wild Ass Soap. I actually have to go out there today. Hope she's ready. I had a friend buy 12 sticks of deodorant,
I remember hearing about that.
and the other 6 are now done.
Not me, so don't be looking at me.
Yeah, I was like, my pit's good. All right, so we always finish also asking a few questions.
Okay.
Are you listening to anything, reading, watching?
Oh my gosh. I read my dailies every day, every morning.
Good job.
Good work.
I being involved in the church over there. We have a small men's group on Tuesdays.
I heard it just started up again on Tuesday.
Well, we've had a small group though on Tuesday
Oh, you
mornings.
have your own. Oh,
We've had
okay.
it for about 4 or 5 years, 4
Yeah.
years probably,
Okay.
and then
Oh.
it's expanded into a little bigger one for the summer.
okay.
So we kind
Awesome.
of mixed in there for the summer, and then we'll go back to our
Sure, got it. Okay.
regular after it's done.
Clearly must be
so
invite only.
It is, obviously.
Poor Jake.
Not everybody's welcome around their table.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a small group, and that's not a knock to
Sure.
anybody.
Whatever.
Okay,
That's
all
not a
right.
knock to
Whatever you need to
anybody.
tell
We just-
yourself.
we
It's a
love them
click.
all. So I read that every morning, and then I read books that I get from our men's group.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I
Do you have one right now?
I'm not really. I'm getting not really currently. So
Okay.
I'm wrapped up in work a lot right now.
Yeah.
Understandable.
So when I get done, it's like I'm kind of ready to relax.
So
Le-
are you
Lena.
watching?
Oh, sorry.
Are you watching? Do you watch TV, movies, anything?
Oh my gosh, you really want me to get deep, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, the best show out there.
Here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Because we're going to
Best
tell
show.
ours.
And we'll probably try and watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, is The Chosen.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I haven't seen it.
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
You have to. It's
Okay.
not paid for by any major network. That's why you don't hear a lot about it.
Okay.
So good.
It's a show about, it's a series, like they have 8 seasons. They're working on 8 seasons right now. They're on number 4 filming, but it's the life of Jesus and the 12 disciples, but through the eyes of the 12 disciples. That's why they call it The Chosen, right? And it gives the human side of what went on back in their day.
Yeah.
You know, with Jesus around. So that's what I watch, and I can't wait, because I mean, like you can see, I've got these wristbands. It's part of what I do. I help support them because it's paid for by paying it forward. So I like to help pay it forward, because I just think that there's something in this world that needs to be positive, and that is as positive as you can get. So
What are you watching, Lena?
Well, some more episodes of Manifest came out. So that's
know.
very good.
Yeah.
There's nothing new with Chosen right now, but my girls are waiting. They
Yeah.
ask. It is very good.
I need to watch it.
So we have Chosen, and we let the girls watch Wednesday. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
we don't let them like repeat a lot of things, but
Yeah.
we're watching it now as a family. So we're watching like an episode Wednesday, whenever we're home, which is very rare. But
Yeah.
like, there's a couple days in the summer that's a no TV day. So like Wednesday was no TV Wednesday. And then we were too busy last night, so they're begging that we can sit down and watch TV tonight, but we'll see. Oh, I'm also watching softball. Oh, and some
lot
more
of it.
softball. Oh, and maybe some softball.
Oh, fun.
And a little bit of softball.
Fun.
And
those are
softball.
fun years.
It
Those
is-
are fun.
Everybody says you will miss it when it's gone.
Yeah, well, you will.
And you will. And I'm getting that already, because when I said to Jake, oh my gosh, at the end of June, I mean, we're playing the, firecracker at the beginning of July, but it will be a snap and it's going to be over.
Yeah.
And the weather, obviously plays a part in all that. So you don't always get everything you're expecting to get in a weekend. So it's like, it happens. But yeah, that's what I'm watching, Manifest.
Yeah, Manifest as well. I've been up the last like 3 nights, because they're long episodes.
Yeah, they are.
I only have 4 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
But I've watched 3 every night. I got to bed
What
like
is Manifest? I don't even know what
You
it is.
actually, I think, would kind of, it has a
Yeah.
very like religious undertone. It's a weird undertone.
is,
to
yeah.
it. Everything goes back to God, or like,
Yeah, it has-
Noah's Ark. All this,
yeah.
it's very
So good.
trickery. It's
What's it
interesting.
on?
Netflix.
Netflix.
And there's a
Really?
beautiful human being on there.
Oh,
JR
no. That's her thing, but
Ramirez.
whatever.
He's
Uh-oh.
smoking. Yeah. So, anyways, it's getting hot in here.
It is getting hot in here.
Do you drink any caffeine?
Yeah, what's your caffeine of
Coffee.
choice?
Just plain old black coffee.
Plain old
You know
black
what? Finally,
coffee.
somebody's doing it right. Agree.
What's your brand? What's your
I don't
go-to?
care.
Oh, just Folgers. Oh, okay.
no
I
judgment
don't-
here.
No, okay. Yep.
No judgment.
Yeah,
I won't
not
tell any
judging.
of our sponsors
Not
or the
judging.
place I sling donuts, but whatever.
Sorry. I went plain old black coffee.
And what's our other? Oh, and who are you thankful for?
Yeah,
You
so
can only pick one
Only
person.
one person. I know.
I know. It's tough.
Because you should be thankful for somebody every single day.
Every dang
There's
day.
always somebody to be thankful for. So
Yep.
today, who are you thankful for
my
and
gosh.
why?
Oh my gosh. I can't say my kids. I got 2 daughters. I
Yeah,
got
you
two
can
da- I got
classify
2
them
daughters.
as one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 daughters I'm thankful for
Why?
because they're
Sorry, that was really-
they are just a peach of kids. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They're young adults
Yeah.
that have grown up to be grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Their heart's in the right place. I'm getting ready to be a grandpa in probably about 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
Poppy.
Yeah.
Old Poppy.
Yes.
Going to be a grandpa. And she married a very great man from Ogallala. And we're this close. You know, I'm crossing my fingers right now, people, if you don't.
Yeah.
We're that close. And so I'm very thankful for them. My other daughter she's grown up to be, she goes to church with me every Sunday. You said you met her?
I just met her. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's beautiful.
She just, they're both just peachy kids.
Yeah.
You'll love them. You'll love your kids when they get
Yeah.
older and
can't
older and
wait.
older.
Yeah.
They're just fun.
When kids get older, you can tell me, Bob, this. Do you feel like they appreciate you more as a parent the older
Yes.
they get?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's going to be a stretch in there where
Yeah.
they don't think you know anything. And
Yeah.
they don't really appreciate it, you know, but they come back and they'll be back with you eventually. So, yeah.
Yikes. I'm not ready for that. And we're getting close.
No.
Baby's going to be 12.
She's got some time.
No. It's beginning.
It's starting, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
that was about the age
Yes.
of mine were
Yep.
starting to 12, 13 right in there. They started getting their own
Yeah.
personalities and
Opinions.
opinions. Yeah. I didn't know anything at the time. Yeah, we struggled when we were younger. I mean, you have to be a little hard nosed with them at times, but we struggled. But they end up coming back around.
I hope so.
What about you?
I am thankful for fun umpires.
Oh,
We have some
I like it.
we've had some umpires at some games that are so fun.
Yeah.
Like dance to the music that the girls have, like their walk up songs, and then are really caring if the girls get hit or hurt. You know, they take their time and they make it fun and they make it a learning opportunity. Like they're going out and talking to them when something happens, and it's the most beautiful thing because as a parent, they already don't want to listen to you, and if you're the coach, they sometimes don't always. So to have another person that's taking their time and energy to share. Obviously, they love the game, or they probably wouldn't be umping it. It's just really cool to see, and the age ranges. You know, like we can have like some younger umps, and then you can have some that you can tell have been doing it a while.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's really cool to watch. So
You
Yeah.
know, one
Thankful
of
for all umpires.
One of the funnest umpires lives right here in McCook that used to work years ago in Cabot. Okay.
Okay.
Jim Jones. Do you know Jim Jones?
Is he
from
one of
the
your friends? You're going to bring him? Are you
Funeral
bringing
home.
Oh, yeah.
Funeral home.
Oh,
Jim Jones.
really?
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
He was the most entertaining umpire that you and he
Really?
did a lot of games for us, big games behind the plate, and he interacted with the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
my
they just loved it. They
gosh.
joked with him, and he was so interactive
Oh, I
with
can
them
see that, yeah.
that they just had a ball with him.
Well, that's
And
great.
fun. Yeah.
He never got, I mean, you make a call. He never got yelled at as much because they were so much like
almost
him.
felt like they had a relationship. Kind of. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lady
Yes.
we have right now that we've had in Cozad and in Kearney, and she's a hoot.
Yeah.
And she's
It's hard to yell at those people.
It is.
It
yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
So
Who are you
Anyway.
thankful for, Kobza?
Actually, I thought of a person. I mean, I'm thankful for so many people, but when you said that your daughter goes to church with you, I am thankful for Savannah Thatcher.
Oh yeah.
Because she, like every Sunday, usually we sit together and we come husbandless. And she's just real and so down to earth, and she doesn't care. And like, I could see her no matter where we are. And it's just like, we're friends. And like, even though we don't talk a lot, but like we go to church every Sunday and I'm like, if she's not there, I'm like, oh, where's Savannah? And like, she notices if I'm not there and vice versa. And then we just get to talk. And, yeah, it's just great. Yeah, she's
cool.
So,
Well, I'm guessing we have some groovy music to
yes, we do. To
rock on out to this.
This is gonna be so
man.
fun. This was so
This is
fun,
awesome.
Bob. I learned so much. I just talking about all of it is so
about Kaba. Like that was such a huge thing.
It was a huge thing.
You know, I grew up with like Brad and Brian Wilson, you know, Kenny and Cindy Wilson, but like those, and they were big, you know, Legion and baseball players. And I didn't have brothers, but I remember that being such a staple for McCook. So to revisit that mentally was
it was a blast.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
I want something else like that to come up.
Well, there's just always tomorrow. We can make something happen.
Volleyball.
I know. I mean, I had some Canadians come down here once.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And you had a men's team that we won't talk about. But anyways,
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Bob, for
You bet.
listening in
Thank you
or
very
helping
much.
and coming in and seeing us
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
outside. Glad it wasn't outside. You would have
I
cooked
would
it
have
again.
roasted.
yeah.
And everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Coaching Caffeine and Comedy. I'm your host, Hayley Kobza.
And I'm Lena.